Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. So today I have some more plants that I got from Costco. Actually, my husband picked them up for me. If you watched my last video, I was in the middle of cleaning out some of my beds and I got this fantastic phone call that Costco had more tuberous begonias and they had clematis, and I also got some red hot poker, and I think there was something else that I got. Oh yes, I got some iris as well. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to pot up some of these plants. The clematis are made, they are just plugs, and so I'm going to need to get them potted up. They may or may not flower this year because clematis do take some time to get their roots really well established and then to put on some green growth, and a lot of times then they will flower the second year for you after they start branching out and really become more vigorous. So I'm going to get those going, and I'm going to plant them into pots, and I'm going to bring them into the house because it is going to get cold between now and April 15th. I'm going to put them under grow lights temporarily for probably about at least a few more weeks, and then I will bring them out and plant them into the garden once the temperatures have kind of leveled off a bit. And I'm also going to be planting these tuberous begonias. I got another group of the same ones that I had before. These are the Picotee Pink and the Rose Form Pink, and so I want to get these started because they do take some time to develop. I think I planted the other ones I had about a week and a half ago and haven't gotten any new growth up to the surface of the top of the pot yet, so got to get these going. And again, those are down in my lower level of my house, getting some warmth and some tender loving care as they get started. So let's get started with those. So I'm just reusing some more of my Proven Winners pots. I buy a lot of annuals from them. And they're made out of really good plastic, so they're easy to reuse. They provide drainage. And they're a good size. So I have to see if I can fit two of these or just one into each one of these, because I will, once they start growing, pot them up into a bigger pot. So these are what the tubers look like, and you can see they kind of have a indentation, and that's the actual top. A lot of people might think, oh, I'm looking for the pointy side of the tuber to point up. But in the case of the tuberous begonias, it's the exact opposite. So the part that is concave actually goes up to the top of the pot, and the part that is round or a little more pointy goes down. So it looks like I'm actually going to have just enough room to fit the two of these into the same pot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then just cover them with enough soil to cover the tops. You can see I have them like this. Now you can see I've added just enough soil to top it off. So we'll go ahead and plant up the other 8 of them just the same way. I can actually see a little bit of new growth on this one. You can see those 2 little tiny pink spots. So if you see those on the tuber, you'll know that's the new growth. It's not roots, those are going to be leaves. Oh yeah, take a look. That one has a little pink spot on it as well. So nice to see. And these are tender, so they are not perennial in my area. I will have to lift them in the fall if I want to store them and plant them again next year. You can see they just have them in bags with some light wood chipping. You could use like probably some, I don't know, it reminds me of gerbil or hamster bedding also that you could probably pick up at your pet supply store. Some people use, oh geez, why am I blanking on the name of it right now? Some people use perlite or vermiculite, mostly vermiculite, and just have it slightly moistened before they store it over winter. So I will probably do that because I'd like to try to save them, but you never know what life throws in your direction, so we'll see what happens this fall. Right now all I want to think about is spring and getting these tubers started so I can see some pretty flowers. All right, one last one. I also like to kind of tap the sides to make sure there's no air pockets, and then I just kind of firm the top down. That way there's soil all around it. And then I'm going to make a quick little tag. I have found that these tags are really giant. Like if I stick this in the pot, you can see it's way too big. So what I like about that though actually is that I can make them into either 2 or 3 different tags. I hope this wind is not causing a ton of noise, but I know you can hear the wind chimes in the back. They're really pretty. It is about 70 degrees here right now in Michigan, which is incredibly abnormal for March. And I'm just trying to take advantage of it. I was going to pot these up in the lower level of my house, but instead I decided I'm just going to carry all this stuff outside and enjoy the beautiful weather while I can. Looks like I just need one more. Yeah. So put these back in the bag. Okay, then I'm just going to give them a little bit of water. And that should do for now. So I'll set these aside and then we'll get working on the clematis. All right, now this is a batch where I have 2 of each. So there's 4 total plugs in here. 2 of them are called multi-blue and the other 2 are the Duchess of Edinburgh. And I already have a Duchess of Edinburgh, which is super pretty. So I'm kind of hoping, but it's not super vigorous. So I'm kind of hoping that these 2 will do really well and that I'll be able to put them around the trellis that I have for that one, and it will help kind of fill it in a little bit further and make it a little bit more full and fluffy looking, because I just really like that look in my yard. See which one's which. Alright, so the Duchess of Edinburgh is the white one, and it is hardy in zones 4 to 9. And the multi-blue is also hardy in zones 4 to 9. And again, I can probably plant these out in my area in a few weeks. But right now I just want to get them started. Oh, that's nice. These actually come with some instructions right on them to say, plant 1 inch deep and 18 inches apart. So I'm actually going to plant them closer in this pot just because I'm trying to get them started, and then my goal is to plant them out into the landscape again in like a few weeks. Maybe a little bit longer than that depending on how they're growing. Same for both of them. That makes it pretty easy. So these are what they call plugs, and you can see how they're kind of bound up a little bit because they've been grown in a very specific size, and they have some nice little new white spots of new growth at the top where they're going to grow, and the roots look really nice and healthy, so I'm glad to see that. Whenever I get a plug, I do like to look and just kind of make sure that there isn't any of the netting that you might see with some plugs. I have had really bad luck with that netting actually breaking down over time. So if I find any of that, and it doesn't look like it's on these, but if I do find it, I definitely try to get rid of it. And the reason for that is because to me, it just seems to girdle the plant a bit and makes the plant really unhappy over time. So I find they do that a lot with houseplants as well. So if you find that you've bought a plant from a store and it's not doing well, check and see if it's been, you know, kind of strangled by not having its roots be allowed to spread out because of that. All right, well, this looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and get this in. Let's look at the next one. Same thing here, just checking to make sure there's nothing else in there. And also this, it looks like, I'm not sure if it's peat or cocoa par. I think it's peat, but that can become very dense sometimes. So I like to just kind of pull that away. Now this one is the Duchess of Edinburgh, and I'm going to label it now so I know which side it's on. All of these clematis and plants that you see me planting today are from Longfield Gardens, and they look like they have a really good reputation for quality plants, so I'm happy about that. And this was such a good deal. Each one of these bags was $11.99, and I think it's just because they're so small, right? They're plugs as opposed to being a plant that has been already fully grown out by the nursery before you pick it up. So this multi-blue looks like it has healthy roots, but it definitely does not have the new growth that the Duchess of Edinburgh was showing me. Get those labels in there. It's actually nice to do this outside and be able to make a little bit more of a mess even though I'm on my deck. It's always a much bigger thing to try to be more careful when you're doing this kind of thing inside, or you know, you're trying to clean up afterwards to make sure you get all of it. Alright, so now I'm just covering the soil about an inch over these. Just tapping to get out any air there. Alright. Looks good. So that's it. Nothing to see. Not yet, but it's going to be beautiful. Alright. Definitely having a little bit of wind issues here. Hopefully it's not too bad on the microphone. I did just get a new cover for one of my other cameras, and I haven't tried it out yet, but I plan to do that soon. So I'm just going to get some soil into this pot, and then we'll talk a little bit about these clematis. And there should be 8 between the 2 bags, and I'm going to try to get them all into this one pot. So these green pots just happen to be pots that I have left over from last season. Always buying more plants, right? And it's good to reuse what you can, especially when it's plastic. Okay, so here we have 4 Mrs. N. Thompson clematis. And these are also hardy in zones 4 to 9, so they're very purplish. And this is a perfect example of what I was talking about before, which is, you can see this plug has a little bit of a wrapping around it, and they say these are biodegradable, but I just have never had good luck with them. So I'm going to go ahead and just rip it up and pull it off. Because this looks like it has really good roots though, and a nice, you can see a lot of new growth happening right there. That's why I want to get these planted instead of just having them sit in the bag. Okay, this guy looks real little, but he does have some new growth. Alright, that's the end of Mrs. N. Thompson. Now we're going to go for Dr. Ruppel. Ruppel? R-U-P-P-E-L. This one is pink. Also hardy in zones 4 to 9. And these are all summer blooming clematis. So and I got some new trellises too from Costco during this same trip, so maybe some of those will look amazing with this. Oh my goodness, I almost missed the step of labeling, you guys. Okay. That was a close call. We'd have never known which one was which unless I went back to look at the packet later. And if they don't bloom this year, I'd have been in trouble because I'd have gone, I don't know. But I wouldn't know where I would want to plant them in combination with the other plants. Okay. Yep, that one's looking good. Look at that. Some people really like buying that are already full size, and I do sometimes, but I actually really enjoy, 1, saving money, and 2, because you can buy more if you save money, and 2, just watching the plants grow from babies, because it's really cool to see the whole process. Wow, that one has 2 stems on it already. They're in. Alright, now I just have to cover them up. Here's kind of what they look like inside. I'm going to try not to spill them out. Hopefully you can see that. So they're just sitting on top of the soil right now, and I'm going to cover them. And then I'll need to water this one and the other one that I just planted, which I haven't watered yet. You just want to be gentle because some of that new growth that is white, it hasn't really seen the sun, and it can be very tender and it can just snap off. I tap like that, it just kind of takes all the soil and everything down a little bit more. So there's no air pockets, and I can tell, you know, like how well did I cover everything. Do I need to add a little more? Alright everybody, well thanks for joining me today. I was going to take you on a tour of some of my seedlings, but then I realized this video will be like an hour long if I did that, so I'll do it on another day. Anyways, I appreciate you joining me today. I hope you had fun. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Click subscribe and even hit that notification bell if you want to get notified as soon as a new video comes out. Alright, see you next time. Bye!